Funny about that. You know who was asking about you the other day? Who's that? Nobody.
We talking about sports, get ball.
What it do, baby?
Yeah. What it do, you number one podcast listeners? We are back with a brand new episode of the number one podcast in your headphones, Creme Brulee. With this short little hiatus, I had to make it right for you number one podcast listeners, so this is actually a 3 co-host episode, a special edition with my big bro, Vish.
What up, what
big
up?
bro, big cousin, Roshan. Welcome, guys.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so we got a jam-packed episode for you, but we're going to try to keep it flowing quick so that you guys get our rapid-fire hot takes, as you've come to expect. So without further ado, let's go into Yeah Fam or Nah. All right, Roshan Vish. Yeah Fam or Not, we're going to cover the Olympics and kind of keep it open-ended, and you can take it wherever you want. But for you number one podcast listeners, the Olympics were a huge success. Viewership, the whole nine. Everybody loved the Summer Olympics in Paris. They just wrapped up. The USA won the Olympic medal count with 126 total medals. USA and China tied for first with 40 gold medals. Obviously, a couple headlines. Simone Biles and USA Gymnastics. Simone Biles continues her dominant streak after that crazy Tokyo Olympics. She came back and owned gymnastics, and so did the USA women. USA men's gymnastics also finally medaled. It's been a long time for them, and that was a big story. They got a bronze. Katie Ledecky, USA swimming, they beat their rivals Australia in the medal count. USA track also dominated. Obviously, we are not going to escape this episode without world champion of what himself, Noah Lyles. Plenty to come about him. Yeah, cue that clip, baby.
You know, the thing that hurts me the most is that I have to watch the NBA Finals, and they have world champion on their head. World champion of what? The United States?
But track held their own, especially the women's team setting records, relays, the whole nine. Basketball, which I assume this is where we're going to take it at least a little bit. The men and women both won gold. The women's team now has, I think, 61 straight victories in the Olympics. They haven't lost since 1992. The men's team won their 5th straight gold. In that, we saw LeBron, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant lead the team, who also happen to be the oldest players on their team. Durant won his 4th gold, which tops Carmelo Anthony for most all time. Definitely a nice bow on the LeBron, Steph Curry, KD era. And then obviously Jason Tatum barely playing. That was a big point of debate and contention. And then anywhere else you guys want to take it? You got things like breakdancing debuting in Paris and then already being gone for the next Olympics in LA in 2028. Worth noting for you number one podcast listeners, this might have escaped you, this news, but there are a few new events already announced for the Summer Olympics in LA in 2028. They're adding baseball, softball, flag football, which is the first ever. Excited about that and what that maybe means in the future. Lacrosse, men's and women's, and they are adding cricket. So shout out the 3 of our motherland. Hopefully gives India a chance to medal, get in medal contention there.
Let's do that cricket.
Before we get started, I just wanted to make sure we wish our co-host a National Left-Handers Day today. And
Oh, let's go, baby. Is it really? It's today?
wow, can't believe you didn't even know it. And so,
Dude, every day is National Left-Handers Day for me.
I think I saw a tweet or something where someone's like, "Happy National Left-Handers Day," and it's just Sharpie that's smeared.
Fuck, man. Yeah. That's a bane of my existence.
Sorry,
You know,
we just had to throw that in there.
I'm going to use this floor real quick just to say one thing. You played yourself. Goes to scissors. Scissors are impossible for lefties. All my lefties out there know the struggle of using scissors, so fuck scissors one time.
They make lefty scissors now.
I knew you were going to say that. fuck lefty scissors also, because you have to pay extra for those. And as an Indian, I can't do that. So you played yourself goes to scissors as a whole. Fiskers, get fucked.
I thought you were going to take it to old head, like back in my day, we didn't have that as an option.
Back in my day, we didn't have lefty scissors.
I'm guessing Roche is just like trying to deconstruct righty scissors and flip them and like, how do I make this work?
Turn the screw around? Yeah.
My older son might be a lefty, so
shout
I
out.
have experienced that.
Shout out
Barrett. And no shout out to all the lefties in our family for making that happen.
Yeah, you know.
That I was even in the gene pool.
It was
somehow.
Shame. It was.
The bots have a high concentration of lefties for sure.
Sorry, I distracted us.
Back to the Olympics. I'll start with Vish. Yeah, fim or nod to the Olympics, Vish, and take it where you want to.
Yeah. So overall, fam. I think it was fantastic to be able to watch the Olympics. I think the last Summer Olympics were in Tokyo, so the time differences were just crazy. We all have notifications on our phone, so we actually know what happens, even if we watch the primetime version. Mm-hmm. Where this, we were probably able to watch mostly, even through Peacock and some of the streaming services. It was actually really nice to be able to do that.
It was during the day. I know you guys weren't paying attention at work. I know a lot of you guys were watching it.
Yeah. I think last Friday we actually watched a lot of the track at work. So it was kind of cool, but overall a huge fam. I think the USA owning the medal count, and then even tying with China for the gold. I think China had some shooting and table tennis where they kind of dominated, but it was nice for the USA team, especially gymnastics, where they were favored and they took home gold, and Simone Biles was just, she's phenomenal, and just for her to come back. Yeah. So overall, amazing. Roche, what do you think?
Always love Summer Olympics. I'm not a big Winter Olympics guy. I feel like I just don't watch as much.
Agreed.
Summer Olympics, like Vish said, the time difference wasn't too bad. So, I got a little dual monitor set up on the home office, so I always had a little Peacock on one TV, my work on the other. It was cool to just watch as much basketball as I got to watch, which doesn't usually happen because, like you said, Tokyo. Shout out Simone Biles. Shout out Houston.
That's right.
That's a big one for me. Yeah. And I really enjoyed this USA men's basketball team. I knew I was going to. Just being able to watch. And, we hate who we hate when the NBA's on.
Look, I stay petty so I don't have to get petty.
But when the Olympics come around, it's cool to, leave that shit at the door and see KD, Bron, and Steph on the same team and be able to root freely. It's like I felt free, bro. I felt free. I saw a tweet that said this is what Warriors fans got to experience during the KD run, and I was we can actually root for this shit now.
Yeah. Well, even we're not anti-LeBron, but there's a lot of anti-LeBron people out there, and they're like, what he was able to do and essentially be the point guard for this team and fucking dominate. Guarded Jokic,
still the most outstanding player.
Yeah. It's remarkable about what they were able to do, and it's cool to see Curry actually get involved. I think this was his first Olympics that he was able to play on, and
his last.
Yeah, it's going to be unique and different in 2028 and what that looks like, especially because it's going to be in LA. So, there's going to be a lot of eyes. There's going to be a lot of things that are going on. So, who leads that team and the talent, LeBron, Steph, and KD, you can say they're pretty talented, but for their age, they shouldn't be owning what they do. But they just kind of took over. And even the 08 Redeem team, that had Kobe on it, Bron was new, KD was new. Kobe took over. He took that veteran presence, and I think that matters for this type of team, and that's what made it fun to watch. So,
absolutely,
definitely. I think it was we're gonna look back at when they eventually retire. This will be a nice bow on their era that is defined by the three of them, like it or not. Like Roche, you said, we are not KD people here. We make no bones about it. Everybody knows that, but it was nice to put that aside, and it was cool to see them team up and have this kind of appreciation moment that kind of caps their era defined by the three of them. If you had to pick three players, it'd be the three of them. I don't take much stock into Tatum not playing. I mean, we're going to talk a little bit special tease for later, and you played yourself, but I don't take much stock in Tatum not playing. It'd be different if they didn't win and they had a player sitting there. Like in 2004, a young LeBron was on the bench of the Olympic team while they won a bronze medal. That's where you get into the conversation of like, oh, what the hell was Larry Brown doing at the time? But you can't argue with the results. Yeah. And it is kind of like, who is he going to play over? If LeBron and KD were two of the three best players, those are two guys that Tatum would be in for. So I think you're just the odd man out, but we'll talk more in You Played Yourself specifically about a few of the players there.
There we go.
Anyway, and we'll talk a little bit more about track. I did really enjoy track. I love watching relays in general, so swimming and track.
Yeah, for sure.
All those are really exciting, and those are fun to watch. Very into that. Okay. Vish, you added this one, and I was glad you did because we're going to do part Olympics and part football preview. This is a worthwhile one to cover real briefly as we approach college football. Yeah, fame or not, to the upcoming college football season. There is obviously new super conferences with the Big Ten and SEC adding huge schools. Big Ten adding the likes of Oregon, USC, UCLA, and Washington, and the SEC notably adding Texas and Oklahoma. And this will be the first year with the 12-team playoff, which is going to be crazy in itself. So, Vish, take it away, yeah, fam or nah?
Yeah, I'm a huge yeah fan. I think it'll be interesting to see how things shake out. I think there's always going to be excitement that college football season brings, no matter what. And then I also think that a loss doesn't actually take you out of it, right? So Ohio State's going to be playing Oregon this year, and that's going to be the loser of that team, or the loser of that game, probably could be the odd team looking out in a 4-team playoff, or even before that, a 2-team BCS, if nothing else, if everything else held serve. So I think those are two of the stronger teams this year, certainly, and for them to still have a shot if they run the table and do what they need to do and not kind of backdoor their way in or whatever, or push someone out, just like we experienced with Florida State last year, I think matters. So it will be interesting, and especially as that 12-team playoff comes in, who the home teams are, especially if an SEC team has to come to Big Ten country or vice versa, right? I mean, it's very rare for a Big Ten team to go down to SEC country and deal with that type of environment where college football owns. So I completely understand both sides of it, but just potentially having a game at Penn State or in the Shoe or something like that as a home game, it's going to be quite remarkable.
Roche, what about you?
I mean, I think Vish covered pretty much everything that I agree with. Opening up the field, I always hated those seasons where you lose one game to like a premier team and you just have to pay the price and you have to watch, fucking Notre Dame come into the playoff and get their ass whooped every single year. And
congratulations.
I think this just opens it up for just more parity, and I think in a one-game playoff, anything can happen. It happens every Super Bowl season prior to Patrick Mahomes getting in the league.
That's true.
So I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm a cautious fam. I'm a little worried at the implications of specifically rivalry games. Obviously, we're Ohio State fans, and I think it takes a little bit away from rivalries because, like you guys mentioned, losses aren't so important. So that added pressure on top of an already rivalry game, I think it diminishes it a little bit. Now, some rivalries are bigger than any of that, Ohio State and Michigan being one of them. But it is nice to know, like Ohio State, like you said, Vish, going to Oregon. Just for context sake, number one podcast listeners, if you haven't taken a look, in the AP poll, Ohio State is preseason ranked 2 and Oregon's preseason ranked 3.
Yep.
So you're also looking at a situation where the loser might get another shot at playing that team again in the Big Ten championship.
Right.
So a lot of implications there, and I'm interested to see what teams do with like difficult schedules, if they keep them or not, because it almost felt like you shouldn't have a difficult schedule because it penalized you in the previous system. But do people go back to that? So we'll find out here this coming season, specifically with Michigan. Also a tease for later. But Michigan has a gauntlet of a schedule.
Right.
They play USC, Washington, and they have an out-of-conference game against Texas. So for as easy as their schedule was last year, they have done the opposite this year. So we'll see what those losses do and how they maybe slot into the top 12. One last thing is the home games you guys covered. Those will be like minus the top 4 teams who are in a bye, the top 4 teams being the top 4 conference champions. So you could see a scenario where a second SEC team or Big Ten team does play that home game, doesn't get a bye because they would be a top 4 team otherwise, but they're not a top conference champion. So someone, I guess, for example, let's use like the Big 12, a team like Houston wins the Big 12 and they're a conference champion. If they're one of the top 4 conference champions, they would get one of the bye weeks instead of, let's say, second place in the Big 10 or second place in the SEC. So what that means, and if teams are okay with that because they get a home playoff game, what does that mean? If they'd rather have a home playoff game versus the bye, I would assume most teams are going to fight for the bye because it's going to turn into a lot of games if you end up winning the championship. It's an added few games, so week of rest that another team doesn't have will be huge. So very interested to see all the different implications that we won't find out until there's a bigger sample size.
Well, I think even with that, I mean, you're going to still have games that matter for those seeding purposes, for those conference championships, to be able to get that bye week. I think what we're going to eventually see is those 4 teams that get a bye, they're going to have some level of revenue sharing, right? So a home game, an extra home game for a team is X amount in revenue, especially for some of these big schools, and especially for playoff games, right? Even if Houston is hosting like in Alabama, like that rarely happens. That stadium's going to be packed. That city's going to be buzzing.
Oh, I'm sure they'll do that at Reliant. At NRG.
Yeah, there's no way they could do that at U of H's school.
And so I mean, your
capacity.
You're talking about an influx of just dollars that are coming into that city. So at some point, these teams are gonna be like, "Hey, what the hell?" Like, I get it that we want to win we want to win a national championship, but at what cost, right? So money's going to talk, money's going to matter. That's why it's 12 teams now, and so it's going to continue to evolve
I wonder
a little
if some
bit.
teams that are outdoor teams might pick an indoor venue. Like, I think before Gene Smith, who's the previous athletic director at Ohio State, he had mentioned like the possibility of, if Ohio State hosted a playoff game, doing it in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil because it's indoor. And obviously Ohio State has a high-flying offense, so like, would you prefer that versus playing in December where, Ohio State's much more of a pass-happy offense nowadays. So, yeah, the elements are cool, and we're used to them in the Big Ten country, but it also impacts your own offense. So what are those different strategies that teams employ? But yeah, Vish, great point about revenue sharing with the 4 bye week teams. That'll be interesting little wrinkle in the nuances of this system.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a good one. And we're fast approaching. We're not too far away from college football.
We're like 2 weeks away.
And fantasy football drafts for those of you out there. Also another tease. I promise I'm going to pay off all these teases, but I'm just serving these up for you, number 1 podcast listeners. Only the finest for you. Okay. We know why you're here. Let's move on to You Played Yourself. And
yes, sir.
Intro.
I'm petty as hell. And I'm super petty. Here we Petty Le Pew.
Go. Okay, your number 1 podcast listeners. We're going to cover You Played Yourself. We have a lot to cover, but each one of us is going to pick 1 or 2 so that we keep this flowing pretty well. And you guys maximize the level of hatred that runs deep in this family. We like to keep it petty, and yeah, you can sound it. Runs in the family, baby.
Petty alert. Petty alert.
I'm going to go ahead and go
alert.
first, guys, because as we approach football season, it's only right that I start with this and get out ahead of this, what is going to be a painful football season on Sundays. So this tweet was from X user the real DA_Lee. He tweeted at Marcus Spears, who I follow from ESPN. But this person said the following: the Dallas Cowboys ranked 25th in cash spent from 2013 to 2016. Between 2016 and 2019, you would think, oh, they must have spent more. No, they were dead last, 32nd. The last few years, 2021 to 2023, they've ranked 30th in cash spent. This is a tale as old as time.
Unintended.
Jerry Jones. Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, Jerry Jones in the press talking down about CeeDee Lamb instead of getting a fucking deal done. Then he'll end up overpaying versus if he would have just done it sooner before the market was reset and reset and reset and reset and re-fucking set over and over and over and over fucking again, this guy. Time and time again, the Jones family waits while the market continues to reset. And then they have the fucking audacity, Jerry and his fucking minion son, who comes in and talks about, oh, we can't afford everyone. Meanwhile, this fucking franchise boasts having the most valuable worth in the billions, the tens of billions. Here's what I want, and I've talked about this before for you number one podcast listeners. I would just like them to fucking admit that they don't care about winning. That would solve all of this pain, because I can see it clear as day, but the only fucking owners complaining about the cost of their own fucking players they drafted that are good. What a problem to have. The players you drafted end up good and you have to pay them. Wow, what a fucking problem. Gosh, how could you ever deal with such real world problems, Jones family, in the fucking billions? God forbid you pay a millionaire what he deserves while he sacrifices his fucking body on the field, while you complain about how much you have to pay the guy for playing well, despite your fucking penny pinching while you're a billionaire. This is the definition of insanity. This front office does the same thing over and over again and somehow expects a different result. To be no better than 25th in cash spent, and you're considered America's team and the most valuable franchise, to be no better than 25th in the last 10 plus fucking years is outrageous. That has nothing to do with certain players, nothing to do with anything. What is the common denominator? This fucking Jones family that drives me nuts year in and year out. The season hasn't even started, and they're fucking around with CeeDee Lamb, who just had a career season, led the league in receiving, and they want to fuck around and say stupid shit in the press that makes their players upset. And what's going to end up happening? They're going to end up paying him, but what purpose does it serve to make your guy upset in the meantime? There's no fucking purpose. It doesn't help your negotiations because the market is already set by you waiting fucking forever to pay your own guys. And they're going to do the same thing with Micah Parsons, and we're going to pay for it. And watch them. They're going to end up overpaying for Dak Prescott when they could have got it done way sooner. It happens every year. And then they're going to get in front of fucking microphones and say, well, when you pay someone, something else has to suffer. Why are the Cowboys the only one that complain about this? You don't see other good teams complaining about it. You don't see the Chiefs complaining when they had to pay Mahomes. They figured it out. You don't see good teams doing it. Why is it that it's always the fucking Cowboys complaining about shit that every team has to deal with? Oh, great, you had to pay your players? It's not unique to fucking you, Jerry. It's not unique to you, Stephen Jones. The fucking bane of my existence. Every fucking year we have to deal with this. It's so stupid. It hasn't worked once, their strategy, and they continue to employ it. The absolute definition of insanity. But who's the fucking clown? It's me for rooting for this god-awful franchise and this god-awful ownership group. Fuck them and fuck me.
So really quickly, it's just baffling to me, and I'm with you. I think we're laughing kind of in pain with you, Brad. Like, it sucks because it is super exhausting because it's time and time again where if you are a business person of this stature, you can't be this stupid and this naive. And some of it could be tactics, some of it could be gamesmanship. We get it, but it can't happen for, we talked about it, I think, almost every creme brulee that we have, right? It's since the 90s, like 30 fucking years of this coasting on the championships that were owned. And so we're there with you. And I think that's something that is just, you and Sonny have said it, until Jerry Jones kind of is like, hey, I'm done. I'm fucking 81 years old. I'm starting to lose it. Like, let me dip out. It's not going to stop it, right?
That's not going to stop it. He's got a family business.
It's frustrating.
So the one thing I can say to the family business thing is I kind of saw similarities in how the Texans are run. That was also a family business. Obviously, Bob McNair died, so he was basically forced by, whatever how estates work, to give his business to Cal. Cal spent the first, 4 years just shitting his pants, straight up. He was literally shitting his pants for 3 years, and people were like, what the fuck, sell the team. And in the last 2 years, he's just, pretty much since he hired Nick Caserio,
yep.
They circled through a couple of lame duck coaches, sure. But I think the real issue is the Texans were okay with being shit. And the Texans were okay with being a joke for 2-3 years, while Caserio was clearly cooking something.
Yep.
Everyone had their doubts. In the city of Houston, everyone had their doubts. Totally. Everyone's like, what the fuck is this guy doing? We had no first-round picks. I think he didn't have a first or a second his first draft.
And it wasn't his choosing. Yeah.
Shout out Bill O'Brien. Yeah, shout out Bill O'Brien. And then the last 2 years, he is just like, no, it's not close. GM of the year for sure, both years. Coach of the year, GM of the year. He's been insane. Yeah. And Cal finally decided to just be a fun dude. He's a silly ass doofus.
Yep.
And that's all he does now. He's just like, fuck it, I'm gonna have fun. He was a few days ago,
which is what you should do as a fucking owner instead of being the GM.
As a billionaire, you were a billionaire. You were handed a company. Be a fucking nepo baby and just be a dick. Pay people to do the right jobs.
Yep.
He was literally at a concert in Houston. Luke Combs, country guy. He was on stage shotgunning a beer.
What it do, baby? Yeah.
I don't know how I could go from hating the guy 3 years ago to being like, this guy fucking rules.
Yep.
And every franchise out there should just look at the Texans right now and be like, look what happened in 3 years. If we all just let people do their jobs, and you being a billionaire numbskull, just get the fuck out the way. Just move.
Totally.
You have enough money to go do whatever you want, get a jet, go wherever you want, with whoever you want, and let people do their jobs. And guess what? People enjoy doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones just needs to pay someone who enjoys. He does not enjoy it. He just enjoys being famous and rich and being in the news. You can still do that.
He enjoys the attention, and he'll get it anywhere he can.
He can get the attention doing other stuff. If the attention's really what he likes, go do that. And honestly,
by the way,
I don't want to say it, but when he dies is probably the first chance the Cowboys are going to get to decide to be a serious franchise.
I think Stephen Jones is going to take over and do the same shit over and over again, because he talks the same way Jerry does, says stupid shit about players, and complains about how much they have to spend on certain players. Give me a fucking break.
Well, I think
you're right. They do need to commit to the rebuild.
Yeah.
If they're gonna let Dak play out the last year of his contract, so be it. But I just have this feeling they're gonna overpay him when they should have paid him sooner. Right. If they were gonna do that, they should have done it sooner. And they're gonna do it. They're just fine being just mediocre enough and disappointing at the end. And that's where they want to be, because that keeps them valuable and in everybody's mouths talking about them, and that's what they love. They don't give a shit about winning. You can't convince me they do. They haven't shown it once. They do the same shit over and over, expecting a different result, and here we are.
The other two teams that you can compare them to are the Lakers and the Yankees in their respective sports. These three teams specifically refuse to be bad, but they're always good enough to make the playoffs or to get to the second round or whatever it is, like, but they're never gonna be good enough to win it all. I mean, obviously LeBron won in 2020, but you know, everyone has their feelings about that championship. But the Yankees and the Cowboys are the exact same. They for some reason are, you know, valued at like $55,000 billion, whatever it is, and they pay all their players. Their payroll's crazy high, but they have nothing to show for it. The Yankees just sold their farm to get Juan Soto, and they're probably not going to re-sign him. So it's like, why did you give up all that shit from your farm to not pay the guy you traded for? Makes no sense.
Yep.
You knew you weren't going to win the ring in 1 year, and they still won't. Jury's out, but let's be real, they won't.
Look, I stay petty, so I don't have to get petty.
But, you know, same thing. Cowboys the same thing. He does enough to make it to the playoffs, and they're never going to be good enough to win the championship. Because everyone else is doing enough to win the championship.
Well, we even talk about how, like, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're somehow finding, like, money out of, like, ass cracks to pay, like, I don't know how they're paying 2 wide receivers. They have a quarterback that they're paying. They just signed Saquon. Like,
it's because they know how to fucking draft. Their whole secondary is young. And their whole defense is young.
You
have to do it. Everybody fucking figures it out.
We're also going to have to.
The Texans will when they have to pay C.J. Stroud, but in the meantime, they do what any smart franchise does: go all in while your franchise quarterback's on a rookie deal. It's not that fucking hard. Every team does it.
It's simple math. You have a $60 million quarterback in Stroud. You're paying him what, $7 million?
$5 million.
$5 million. So you have $55 million to spend right now while he's on that tight contract.
And they got like 4 players, and they went and traded for Diggs. Like, that's exactly how you do it.
You have to.
Exactly what you do. All right. Anyway, let me take a breather. Vish, you played yourself for us?
I want to toss it up to Roche here because I know he has one that he's been sitting on for a while. We kind of, I think teasing is probably a huge part of the theme of this episode already. So talking about Philadelphia, is there someone that likes Philadelphia teams that you want to talk about, Roche?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to steal this one right out of Prem's book. Just in time for football season, Mr. Mike Trout, step on up. You're the next contestant on You Played Yourself. As, you know, the AL West ambassador, Mike Trout, injured again. No hate on the guy. He's a generational talent. He just has nothing to show for it. And honestly, the only person he has to blame is himself. He was up for free agency, 6-7 years ago, whenever it was. He could have gone and played in Philly, and I pretty much can guarantee you they would have won a ring by now. Philly has always been kind of good, pretty good, to very good, and they just needed the one guy to take him over. When he was healthy, if he was on the Phillies, they probably would have won a championship. But, you know, he tore his meniscus earlier this year. While rehabbing, he tore it again. So... as Premo likes to say, he's a 6-tool player, and the 6th is injury.
Petty, right? Hey, are you calling me petty? Yeah, you petty. You petty. Hello. Petty. So
shout out Mike Trout. Phillies season is right around the corner. Your season tickets, the seat is still warm from the playoffs.
He's going to be at every Eagles game, man.
You're going to be right back on this side.
He's going to be. His rehab stints will be in Philadelphia. They have state-of-the-art hospitals there. Don't worry about California. They don't have anything there. So just, Philadelphia.
I get so much hate for hating on Mike Trout because he's so good.
He is.
2 birds, 1 stone, too, because the Sixers is also starting in October.
That's true.
He'll be there, too.
At what point is a generational talent, like, you have to have something to show for it? And I know baseball's a little different, but how much can we talk about gaudy stats if you're hurt every year and you never make the playoffs? At a certain point, no matter what the sport is, it's about your legacy. And he's a really good player, but what has he done?
Think about it this way:
success, leading his team to anything.
Yeah, he is literally, in about 15-20 years, people are going to look back at him as like a more boring Ken Griffey. Like Ken Griffey, he's a lot of people's favorite player, but he really doesn't have the baseball legacy to show for it. He has a lot of flashy highlight plays, just monster matches, cool swag, backwards hat, the whole thing. You know, he had video games, he had franchise things, and yada, yada, yada. But he doesn't have the rings. He doesn't have all the accolades. I mean, even Mike Trout has more MVPs.
Yep,
but
true.
He's 0-3 in the playoffs. Complete sweep. He was horrible in those 3 games.
I must have missed where he even made it 3 times. That's
It was a wild time.
I missed that.
It was a. I'm pretty sure it was his rookie season, and I'll have to go and check that. But he has been in the playoffs for 3 games. He hasn't won a single playoff game, so he has no sense or feel of taste of victory when it matters. So, you know, and it had to be before 2012, 2013 when, you know, the Astros were not good. So the last time the Astros were not good.
Can't relate.
So I got one. And kind of on the theme of college football, of what we kind of talked about, yeah, from or nah. We can't go too far without talking about the University of Michigan football team. And a huge you played yourself for this. Harbaugh getting it was like a 4-year show cause penalty, delete text messages between now their current head coach and Connor Stallions. And it's something where I think up until recently they were going to make Harbaugh their honorary captain. Harbaugh can't make it all of a sudden. Don't know what happens. And it's baffling because there's still a huge onset of individuals in the media that love Michigan football, right? There's the Rich Eisens, the individuals that are saying the Go Blues no matter what happens. And it's obnoxiously annoying, even as a Buckeye fan, because we were not given that same benefit of the doubt regarding Tattoo-gate, right? Terrell Pryor was suspended before he played an NFL
Our
down.
guy Mike Adams, former co-host of
Mike Adams.
of this podcast.
What it do, baby?
Jim Tressel, who had a weird stint with the Colts, was still suspended because he had the show cause. It just wasn't afforded to Harbaugh. Harbaugh should have some level of suspension for the show cause. It's a 4-year show cause. I think Tressel had like 2 years or something for Tattoo-gate. The precedent has been set, right? The precedent has been set already. You need to include that. Any player that's coming in that had a really iffy college football past that came in different predicaments had the same thing. And so say what you will about Harbaugh. He's a football guy through and through, hilarious, quirky, you name it. If he wasn't a Michigan man, I'd love him to death. But the fact is, hey,
agree, disagree there.
Yeah, he's quirky enough.
He has the charisma to.
He has the charisma, and
yeah.
The part that is the frustrating part with this is the part that is frustrating around this is just the idea that he says, "Oh, I had nothing to do with it. I don't believe it." And you're like, "What the fuck?" And at this 4-year cause,
so fucking pretentious about it.
This 4-year show cause is not even relating to the cheating scandal, I'm pretty sure. It's because of the recruiting. No. Yeah. And so
it's recruiting violation during COVID.
Yeah.
And paying for food that they weren't supposed to.
That's a huge you played yourself is I don't even know if it's Michigan football per se, because they should be.
Oh, it is.
It should be the NFL and the whole as like the Big Ten, where they should have dropped the hammer last year when they had the chance, when they had the bones, and they didn't. But for this to happen, this was in 2020. This is 2024 that we're talking about it. So by the time we hear about Connor Stallions, it's going to be like, I mean, Harbaugh's going to be retired and fucking a different coach, like going to be a coach for a different team now. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's not coming back to the. He's not coming back to the NCAA anyways. So
no.
Cheers.
So they clearly got public scrutiny because just let's paint this picture, right? Harbaugh left after having a full-on cheating scandal. If he wants to claim he wasn't part of it, I call bullshit, but fine. It still happened under his watch, and the NCAA says it's not an excuse to claim ignorance. Regardless, he left after winning, and they escaped any kind of penalty. Whatever. Okay. We're Astros fans, so let's leave it at that. Nobody wants to hear us talk about any of that. So whatever. I mean, but what does the Michigan program do? They turn around, including their athletic director, Ward Manuel, and their coach, who was served under Harbaugh. The very first opportunity they get, they don't wait a year. They don't wait any amount of time. The next game, they make him an honorary captain initially.
Yep.
And his parents are serving in his place. He claims it so he can get ready for the Chargers. But I can tell you, they received public backlash for this because they just said a big fuck you to the NCAA, said, we know you can't do anything to us, so we're going to throw it in your face and have him here for our very next game, even though you just dropped a penalty on us. It was totally public perception that they backed off of this, and I'm convinced of that. But they definitely play themselves, and it definitely is Michigan's football program because they acted high and mighty throughout it all. And then they turn around afterwards, after they've gotten essentially a slap on the wrist and escaped it, by saying we're going to invite him for the first chance we get. I mean, they didn't even let the dust settle and they were going to do it. So, I mean, and also, guys, you played yourself to you guys. Sure, he's quirky, okay, but I'd agree to fucking disagree that I would like this guy if he wasn't a Michigan man. There's nothing about him
I did not say I liked him.
He's fucking weird.
He's really weird.
He's fucking weird.
Hey, it's fine.
He's got the character to be a character on TV.
Oh yeah,
I'll give you that.
Yeah, he definitely is pretentious. I mean, but
by
I
the way,
think that's
nice plug. I don't expect anything out of this, but Untold, the series on Netflix, they have a Connor Stallions piece coming. I think it's going to be, they're going to provide no new information. It's going to be a fluff piece, as they've done with Manziel and the Florida Gators in the past. But they got me. I'll still tune in when it drops. We'll see what we find out from that.
We talked about Untold. I'm probably not going to watch it because I'll just watch clips and shit and not.
They got an Air McNair one coming first. I'm definitely watching that.
Yeah, that would be good. I think there's. I mean, some of them have been good.
Shout out Houston Oilers' very own Steve McNair.
Yep.
Yeah, the
it's a good time to remind you that the Tennessee Titans should not be wearing Oilers throwbacks. Don't even fix your face to ever think that they should. Anyway.
Side note, I know you brought up the Astros, by the way. I know we are Astros fans. Here's what Vish maybe was trying to say. There's a little bit of leniency given to Michigan in this situation that everyone, if you watch baseball and you have your feelings towards the Astros, that's fine. You're wrong, but it's fine. The Yankees and the Red Sox and the Dodgers all have allegations towards them. There's just Google it, okay? Google's free. None of them got any punishment whatsoever. 2017, Apple Watches, all that shit, all of that happened. Everyone constantly says the Astros didn't get punished, but then every year in, year out, we're hearing about, their farm sucks, blah, blah, blah. That's because we lost draft picks. We had to fire our GM who built that team. Yep. We had to fire the coach. We paid tons of prices, and we're paying for it now. What Michigan is having to do is none of that. They didn't have to do any of that. So they got off scot-free, wiped their hands of it, and they're done. Same with the Red Sox. Same with the Yankees. So it's like, it's always like a sore subject, obviously, because people are like, the Astros got away with it. No, they fucking didn't. The MLB hung their ass out to dry and made them the villains because they couldn't afford any of their little media darlings to get shit. So
the huge market classic franchises.
So fuck all that bullshit.
Michigan benefits from that like the same way those big franchises in the MLB do.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so you number one podcast listeners, unlike Michigan football, your boy likes being clean. And speaking of real, actual deserving honorary captains, Magic Mind has been clutch for me staying on top of my game. I've been using Magic Mind to start my day, and sometimes I use it alongside caffeine. Most of the time, it has even allowed me to cut out my caffeine in the morning. I feel alert and energized starting the workday. How have you guys been liking it?
I mean, I use it like you. I kind of use it alongside caffeine most of the time. Yeah. But sometimes I use it like basically to start the day, and then when you're starting to drag ass later in the day, that's when you usually use the caffeine. But you find that drag ass coming a little later, if not at all. So,
or sometimes not at all.
Yeah. So that's how I prefer
less
it.
drag ass.
Yeah.
I think since I was on the last episode, I've actually had a chance to try it, and it's actually been pretty fantastic. And it's actually allowed me to cut out coffee on a daily basis. So anyone that wants to try it, I suggest doing it. I never was a big energy drink person in general, and I don't drink it alongside caffeine, but it actually does give me the energy that I need for the day.
It doesn't impact my brother's 10,000 steps per day either, so gets him going early.
It gets me going a lot early.
Yeah. For me, I love that it utilizes vitamin C to keep my immune system working, my mind sharp, and keeps me on task and motivated to balance work, chasing 2 kids at home, or on this mic for you number 1 podcast listeners. And that bonus is that it keeps me balanced emotionally for an all-around boost. I even dropped off a few to my dad to try since he heard the hype. He's a fellow number 1 podcast listener, so shout out my dad, Roche's uncle.
What it do, baby?
Yeah. So just for the record, you did not drink it before your Cowboys rant, correct?
I did not drink it before my Cowboys rant. I wouldn't sully Magic Mind with that. Yeah. Can confirm. By the way, number 1 podcast listeners, Magic Mind added sleep shots that help you fall asleep, improve the quality of your sleep, and wake up refreshed. So if that's something that tickles your fancy, it does not have melatonin if that messes with you at nighttime. They did add those. I admittedly have not tried those, but I'm one of the fortunate ones that falls asleep just fine. But if that's your thing, check that out. It's brand new and probably worth a try, considering the quality of these Magic Mind shots that we're talking. So, number 1 podcast listeners, be the captain of your own health and focus and get yourself some Magic Mind. You can do so by going to magicmind.com/prem brulee. Enter the code BRULEE20, that's BRULEE 20. And with it, you also get up to 48% off your first subscription or 20% off your one-time purchase. That's BRULEE20 for up to 48% off. It also works if you're already a subscriber, so you can save on your next payment. If you have a lot going on in your life, you're looking for some convenient and clean, I would really encourage you to try Magic Mind out. You know I wouldn't steer you number 1 podcast listeners wrong. So again, that's magicmind.com/prem brulee with the discount code BRULEE20 for up to 48% off a subscription. I would get the 30-pack if I were you. It's the best value and most convenient for grab and go without running out quickly. All right. Speaking of people that probably could have used Magic Mind and boosted their immune system, my next You Played Yourself goes to Noah Lyles. Yes, let's run that clip.
The thing that hurts me the most is that I have to watch the NBA Finals and they have world champion on their head. World champion of what? The United States?
Noah Lyles, of course, did what he set out to do in the 100-meter. He won in a narrow race, which was very exciting to watch, speaking of the Olympics. But his go-to race, the 200-meter event, which in Netflix's show Sprint, he calls, that's his like bread and butter. He called 200 meters his wife and 100 meters his mistress, I believe was his quote. He got bronze. It was later found out that he tested positive for COVID. So impressive to get bronze, but with the amount of shit he talks, didn't leave everybody in the best of ways. We were prepared to eat our words and put ourselves on You Played Yourself. You number 1 podcast listeners, if Noah Lyles would have got the double, the 100-meter and 200-meter, but he didn't, so we're going to sound that petty alert since he didn't get gold like he talked about.
World champion of what?
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
Speaking of letdowns on the track, me saying this as a slow as can be person, obviously, but the men's track 4x100 team has had a historic run of collapsing at the Olympics, and it continued with the botched handoff. They were disqualified in the final. It is kind of crazy to see. You're not used to like people feeling that pressure in events that you don't watch all the time, but that clearly was the case. And I wanted to pay off this tease, guys. Listen, we love the guy here.
What it do, baby? Yeah.
He uses clips all the time. Kawhi Leonard. You played yourself, goes to our boy Kawhi Leonard. He's over here thinking, I guess players can sit out and get a gold. Looking at you, Tyrese Halliburton and Jason Tatum. This dude was essentially removed from the Olympic roster in favor of Derek White. Probably would have just sat all Olympics when they had other players do the same thing. They probably could have just let him stay on the team and get a gold. They did the same with Tatum. Did the same with Halliburton.
They actually used White, though, so...
Yeah.
They used White a little bit, yeah.
And for the record, I'm going to remove Tyrese Halliburton from You Played Yourself. I'm going to make an executive decision. I don't know if everyone saw
agree.
his tweet.
Yes, that was great.
His tweet,
Yeah.
hilarious. He basically just held up a gold medal and was like, when you do nothing on the group project and still get an A. Shout out to you, Tyrese Halliburton. That was fantastic.
Love the self-awareness.
That was fantastic.
He gets it. He gets it.
If only you could have, told Tatum how to handle this shit. Maybe we wouldn't be, bagging on Tatum so hard and having his mommy speak up in the news. That was a tough look.
So congratulations, you played yourself.
Okay, and then one last one before we get our non-sports ones, you guys. I want to do a You Played Yourself. This one's to Diana Taurasi. You would think, why would she be on there? She just won her 6th gold medal. Yeah, 6 of them. But my You Played Yourself goes to her because, did she really need a 6th gold medal? She barely played. She didn't play a single minute in their gold medal match. That was their closest game. So tells you a lot about her spot in the rotation. Taurasi's also been kind of outspoken about the rookies, most notably Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, being too young. And I think it's kind of like an implication that you got to pay your dues before you make an Olympic roster, because obviously it was controversial that Caitlin Clark didn't make it, being one of the best players in the W. My whole thing is, if you're barely going to play, shouldn't you help usher in the new generation by maybe not needing a 6 gold medal? I don't know whose record you're trying to top with that. I don't know if you're trying to make it untouchable that nobody can get 6. I don't get the point of it. But if you're not going to contribute, to me, that's an odd move after you've already gotten plenty of golds that you did contribute in. It would have been an opportunity to kind of at least welcome in one young player to the fold. But anyway, on to our non-sports You Played Yourselves. I'll go first. I don't know if you guys have any for this episode, but my non-sports You Played Yourself, which I like to incorporate in these. If you number one podcast listeners have any to add, feel free to hit us up on social media and let us know if you have one. But my non-sports You Played Yourself was actually my What You Feeling from last episode, which found its way onto You Played Yourself. I talked about House of Dragons Season 2 and The Bear Season 3 during that episode, and they both disappointed.
Yep.
I mean, House of Dragon, those of you that follow the show, I don't need to tell you, it just didn't really move the plot forward. Some people were focused on the lack of action in that season, but it just felt pretty pointless to me.
Yep.
And then The Bear felt like they got too comfortable doing the same recipe. They didn't move the plot forward either. So that's a non-sports You Played Yourself. And then my one other one I was thinking about today, because it's trash day in my neighborhood. The people who leave their garbage cans on the curb days after pickup, what the fuck are y'all doing that makes you that busy that you can't take your ass outside and bring your bins back up the driveway? I don't live on a ton of land. This isn't a long trek for them to get their garbage cans. They're there for 4 or 5 days.
Jeez.
Some houses, not a lot of them. My street's pretty good, so shout out my neighbors. But I see them across my neighborhood. What the fuck y'all doing that you can't just drag the fucking garbage can back up the driveway? Anyway. You guys got any non-sports ones?
I got a couple. It sounds like you need to send the You Played Yourself to your HOA. So someone's not doing their job there. Someone's not narking hard enough. I got one. It's sports adjacent. I don't know if you guys saw. Will Levis has a mayonnaise cologne. Did y'all see this?
I did see this today. Yes.
Yeah, I saw it.
So I guess Hellman's, the mayonnaise brand, the most white person shit ever, has Will Levis as their spokesperson and put out a commercial for a mayonnaise scented cologne. And obviously everyone's going to think this is a fucking joke. This is probably a joke. No, Hellman's doubled down and said this is very real. It has like herbal notes and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what the fuck are we doing, people? What are we doing? So you played yourself to mayonnaise, and you played yourself to Will Levis for supporting mayonnaise that hard. And need I remind you, the whole reason that this came up is because Will Levis puts mayonnaise in his fucking coffee.
That's right.
And that is fucking terrible. So played yourself, Will Levis, for 2 non-sports related things. And the last one, it kind of goes with your trash thing, is, people with dogs who don't pick up their shit. I live in an apartment complex, and for like the last 3 weeks, I have seen the same size turds about 10 feet from the little poop bag receptacle. And we're not out of poop bags, people. So if you're one of those people, I wish nothing but the worst on you. I wish that you would step in that pile of shit at some point. But that is very uncool.
Same category as people who leave their carts and don't return them.
Same category, for sure. No excuse. No excuse. You got legs, you're walking a dog, pick that shit up.
I feel like there has to be something around like dog courtesy, like 101. There has to be some level of like enforcement. Because
the worst thing is they know. Like if you're that close to a receptacle, you know what you're doing.
Or especially if you have poop bags, because I understand sometimes you're like,
you run out.
Oh crap! I ran out. Yeah, like.
But I'll still go back and like we have 2 big dogs, so dropped one of the poop bags, and I was just like, "Whoa, shit! I dropped it." Went to go walk back.
That's what Eddie and Leo said too.
Yeah, 100%. And then, good one, touche. But one of my neighbors was walking the other way and was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I think I dropped the poop bag." Like, "Oh, that's nice. You went to go pick it up." I was like, "Yeah."
What else was I going to do? Yeah.
But I mean, even last week or last month on this segment, I talked about dogs that just owners that let their dogs just go out without a shock collar, off leash, obnoxious, or just like out in the front yard to poop. If you have a backyard and it's like fenced, just put them out there. Put them out in the backyard. And
I actually forgot to check in on that. I'm actually a no leasher at my complex. So when I walk my dog at night, I don't take a leash out. But my dog is very well behaved. She's really like, she has separation anxiety.
You could also pick up your dog.
Also tiny.
Yep. It is very hard for me to pick up
12-pounder.
2 80-pound dogs. So for someone that does not work out, we talked about track star over here with my bro, and then this is me where I can barely lift my dogs.
You got some hefty boys.
I was actually going to talk about Will Levis's mayonnaise as well, because mayonnaise is like one of the most disgusting things.
I forgot you actually hate mayonnaise. I don't hate mayonnaise, but
like
I don't need mayonnaise.
I don't hate mayonnaise like to that extent, but just the fact that there's individuals that swear by it, and I just don't understand it. Right?
Facts. I think it doesn't add anything.
I think when push comes to shove, you get that boxed lunch, and it's like mayonnaise and mustard, and you got to put something on that sub sandwich. I will put mayonnaise on it. I will admit that.
Facts.
But I'm not going to seek out mayonnaise, right? If there's a ranch dressing packet in that salad box lunch, I'm stealing that motherfucker and putting that on my sub sandwich. I'm sorry about that. Like, I was actually going to talk about mayonnaise a little bit more. I don't hate it per se. I will still eat it, but I will not like seek it out. I will not put it on stuff. It's gross. So
elevate your palate, people. We're talking about aioli in 2024. Put some garlic in that bitch. Put some peppers in that bitch. You know what I'm saying? Elevate your sandwiches.
That's what it is. It's like one of the things that I think needs to go for immediate retirement is not just about the trash, but people. So we're talking about trash cans. Sometimes trash cans fall over, and people don't pick up that trash that came out, so then it just gets blown away, and it just comes into your yard, and then you start talking about the connection of your dogs, and Again, I have 80-pound dogs, even Penny that's a little bit smaller. If there is a Wendy's burger wrapper that's flying around, guess what? My dogs are going to probably try to eat it. It's foil, but they're going to probably eat it because that yummy cheese, that non-mayonnaise on that burger, they're going to eat that. Yeah. So that is I noticed that the other day. We had some storms that rolled in, and if you notice your trash can going down before you leave for work, don't drive by it. Just pick it up, please.
Don't litter, people.
Yeah, don't litter.
Just throw littering into the mud.
A lot of trash content, from Dallas Cowboys ownership to Michigan football to actual trash. We got it all.
And hey, that's what the Astros use too, huh? Am I right, guys?
Buzz, 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 bang, bang.
Bang, bang.
Bang, bang,
Bang,
baby.
bang.
Yeah. Circle of life.
Circle of life. Jeez.
All right, number one podcast listeners, it's time for Am I Hating? This segment, I have an Am I Hating? I don't know if you guys do, but I'll go ahead and go first in case you guys do not have one. My Am I Hating is to the short response people. Listen, am I hating if I hate short responses? Can y'all just use more words? First of all, if I send you something, you guys know that your lack of words and punctuation has the people in your life who are opposite of you spiraling right now. Where there is a short answer person, there is a receiving end person that isn't a short answer person that is wondering why you are mad at them or what they did wrong to you for deserving your short answer. But second, are you really going to make me ask 21 questions, or can you just be an adult and type more words when I am wondering something? And I think I've talked about this before, but am I hating if I don't get people who don't contribute to group chats? We've talked about this before, but I've been noticing it way more often, as you fellow fantasy football commissioners can relate out there.
Yep.
When you're trying to get responses from people and you have to then text them individually, why do I have to do that? Why do I have to then follow up? Can you not just answer a text? What happens in that time where I send a group message and put together something so that it can reach everyone at the same time and I don't forget anyone? And when you're supposed to respond, is it just that you ignore notifications? Is it that you click on it and then forget about it? I just want to know why it is so difficult for people to contribute to a group chat. I'm not asking to be fucking pen pals. I'm asking for answers to questions usually, or just some contributions. What is it that makes group chats so difficult? Am I hating? Like, maybe it's just because I'm active in group chats and I don't mind them because I get the purpose of trying to text multiple people at once. It serves a lot of purposes, so you don't have to coordinate between a lot of people.
For sure.
What is so fucking difficult out there to answer a fucking group message? I don't understand. What makes it so hard that that's different than me texting you separately? Is it the lack of personal touch? You guys are the same people answering short responses. You don't give a shit about personal touch. Just answer the fucking question in the group chat.
Nice. I can add on that. I don't have my own, but with the group chat thing, and I really took to the why do I have to reach out on the side? Why do people, and then they answer right away, and then you're like, hey, I definitely said this like 30 minutes ago. And you could have just fucking told me.
And it would have been in one place. In the terms of like what I'm doing, fantasy football, like, yeah, I'm trying to get an answer to something. I'm trying to get RSVPs to draft in this case, and I gotta text everybody.
I got a solution for you. It's called being a dictator. So I have a lot of people who do not answer. I just set the draft, and if you can't make it, looks like you're auto drafting. Fuck off. I don't have time for it anymore.
That could be on my You Played Yourself. That's for another time.
We'll save it for the next one. But I actually, the fantasy group that I am in charge of, we took a year off, and then everyone wanted to open it back up. I was not very vested into it, and so I called it the auto drafters. We had about 7 people auto draft. I will say this was the most competitive my league has ever been. Everyone was super into it. Everyone's teams were so good. And at the end of the season, there were so many teams around or at 500. Mm-hmm. Like every 1 through 5 or 2 through 6, besides the 1 seed, those are all like plus or minus one per 500, and the champion was like sub 500.
Still hate it.
Look, I stay petty, so I don't have to get petty.
Just an idea out there. If you out there like chaos, I'm an agent of chaos. So
What it do, baby?
word to the wise. No, you played yourself to auto draft from me.
I think I think where you're getting with this is there's the short response people, and I think there's also the point of like, it's super easy now just to like a message or thumbs up the message or whatever. Even if you have an Android, like it still shows up obnoxious. I don't know how it actually does.
Yeah.
There's really no excuses other than like you just know, hey, unless they've already told you, like, hey, I'm going to try to make this draft day work. Okay, great. I get it. You've reached out, even if it's separately where you're not sharing a huge group chat, fine. But same thing. I do hate auto drafts, and I was gonna say sometimes those short responses they're almost insulting when you have a long drawn out text or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's the same with emails, right? Yeah. And so we all work, we all send personal emails as well. Just the ability to say, you can't be that busy where it takes you 3 months to respond to an email. Sorry, I've been busy, got married and went to a honeymoon. What?
You were gone
for like you have 3 months. Yeah. So for grad school, like we have our 10-year anniversary coming up. Right. So I'm reaching out to all the people that I probably haven't reached out to ever, but I'm like, hey, it's your 10 years. Are you going to be able to make it down to Columbus? Great. This one person, literally 3 months. Sorry, I got busy, got married. And I'm like, how do you want me to respond to this? Like, you want me to respond to I was just like, congratulations. Like,
congratulations for being busy.
Played yourself. Like,
yeah, you're busier than the rest of us. You got me.
Yeah. And even Gmail has the snooze feature.
Too busy to answer a text, too busy to answer an email. I guess you're too good for it. I really don't know. I would love a no response person or a delayed response person to tell me, is it genuinely that you forget? And if so, if that's it, how do you forget that often? And perhaps you need a better system, is what I would say. I get putting your phone away, text messages, you have a downtime, but some of these people I talk about are every time I see them, the phone's on their hip. So it's so clear that you're ignoring a text message. And why I have to follow up when we're adults is beyond me.
And it's different if you legit actually forgot. Totally. You opened it up, you were in the middle of something else, and it happens. But most people already know, hey, if you reach out to V, she's going to respond really quickly. And if he doesn't,
something was up.
Hey, reach back out in 20 minutes and he'll reach back out. Legit probably forgot.
This is more about if you're one of the people that has had their expectations reset, oh, I don't know if I'm getting a response from this person. That's a fucking problem. That shouldn't be something you're proud of, in my opinion. If I don't know whether I'm going to get a response from you, I don't think you should take pride. That's just me. I might be hating, but that seems fucking odd to me. Maybe I'm hating.
I am definitely hating.
Podcast listeners can correct me. I know some people are probably going to this is probably going to get to them, but you're probably guilty of this. And I just would love the perspective. I love getting people's perspective. So I want to know, what is it about not answering that makes it a habit? I don't even know how it's possible.
Along those lines is those individuals that they're not typically your friends, but people that you want to grab coffee with or drink an occasional whatever. And you put yourself out there, you give them dates, and they just don't respond. So it's always oh yeah, we should do this more often. And okay, let's take our phones and do it now. And this happened more recently with someone where we're hey, we always talk about we need to get together. Let's right now take out our phones and set this date. And then legit, as we took out our phones, 2 other people interrupted us and we're you got to be fucking kidding me. And we've still finished that, set it, and set a breakfast thing. We've been talking about it for a couple years. But again, it's you kind of have to do it then and there because people just forget, don't realize it. And you're why? How is this so difficult to connect and do things with? Just set it, take the ownership. I love doing that kind of stuff. So I'm all right, let's set a happy hour. We'll meet here. It seems like it's going to be a good, perfect, happy medium for people. Let's do it. So I've just started to take the bull by its horns now, instead of waiting and try to play nice. Like all right, if you don't want to meet with me, that's fine. It'll come out, but I'm going to make the effort.
Love it. All right. Emma Hayden kind of turned you played yourself. It fused together, but no regrets. No regrets.
Pretty much.
Podcast listeners. That's what you came for.
No regrets.
Yeah.
Just double down.
Petty alert. Petty alert. Petty alert.
Let's move on to who you got and what you feeling. We got kind of a beefy one, so we're going to do it rapid fire between all of us.
Yep.
Last episode, Vish and I talked about the Knicks and if they're real contenders in the East after adding
Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, after adding Mikal Bridges to their already Villanova heavy team. Anyway, this episode, as football season approaches, I wanted to pay off some of the things we talked about earlier, and I want to do an NFL preview by division from each of us. Okay, so what I need from you guys, this is the way we're going to do it. For you number one podcast listeners out there, we're going to each give our pick to win each division. We're not making any Super Bowl predictions or anything. Who we think is going to finish at each of the 8 divisions. The fantasy player worth the hype. So this is someone everybody knows about that is worth you drafting early. Fantasy player not worth the hype. Someone that's pretty high up there that you don't think is going to pan out. And a breakout fantasy star. This doesn't have to be fantasy football related either. It can just be someone you think is going to do well that may surprise. Okay, so I'm just going to go division by division. I'll go first to you, Vish, then Roche, and then I'll wrap it up and we'll move on from divisions. We'll keep it rapid fire unless one of us really has an issue with one of our predictions. How about good?
That works.
We'll start with the NFC North. Vish, take it away. Who's your pick to win, player worth the hype, not worth the hype, and your breakout?
Perfect. So pick to win would be the Lions. Overall division, the player worth the hype is Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he's proved himself.
Just got paid.
All that. Just got paid. Yep. Player not worth the hype. I'm going to say the Lions tight end, Sam Laporta. And I think the sleeper fantasy breakout is going to be the reason why Sam Laporta is not is Jameson Williams is going to come out a good Bill Bucks from that perspective.
I like it. Admittedly, my fantasy knowledge is not as much as it used to be. Also, let's go back a little bit. You played yourself to all these fantasy blogs that are behind payrolls now or paywalls. What the fuck is with that? Every single one, like CBS, I was trying to do a research and I was like, no way. I'm like, what the hell? Anyway, I think the Packers are going to win the NFC North. I know you both picked the Lions. Lions are a sexy pick this year. They are going to be great. I think it's going to come down to Packers versus Lions in the head-to-head. I think they're both good. They're both set up. The Packers always draft well. They definitely overachieved last year. They got an easy playoff game. No offense.
Oh, I did.
You called it. I should have known. The fantasy player worth the hype. Let's see. I'm going to try to pick someone not on the Lions. I honestly think DJ Moore is going to be pretty good this year.
Nice.
That's going to be
also just got paid.
With a guy who can actually throw the ball.
Yep.
Yeah. Also got paid.
By the way, imagine a player doing exactly what you brought him in for and then rewarding him by paying him when his contract's not. Couldn't be me. I don't know.
That's crazy.
Wow. Insane.
That's crazy. I can see your notes for who's not to pick, Prem, so I'm going to let you have it. So I'll skip that one. And the sleeper fantasy breakout, I couldn't tell you, honestly.
All right, so like Vish, I'm picking the Lions, and my worth the hype guy is Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's got a great connection with Jared Goff. My player not worth the hype, I think, is Aaron Jones, who went from the Packers to the Vikings. Word is he's going to split carries with Ty Chandler in Minnesota. So, obviously, that's not worth the hype. And then my breakout star, I think, is going to be the Packers' Romeo Doubs. They have it's kind of a logjam in receiver, but I feel like he's going to be out of the Packers.
Yeah, I personally like Christian Watson out of the Packers, but it's truly a toss-up. And if you think the Packers are going to win, it's pick your poison, essentially. So,
and Packers, worth noting, Aaron Jones moved to the Vikings. Number one podcast listeners, if you're not NFC North person, they now have Josh Jacobs at running back. So interested to see how that pans out. Let's move over to the NFC East. In the interest of time, I see that all three of us are picking the Eagles to win the division. No surprise there. But Vish, take it away with your player worth the hype, not worth the hype, and then breakout star.
I think player worth the hype, and this could be a you played yourself almost. And then we talked about it, T-Lam. I think even where he's going, hopefully things work themselves out. But I mean, he's a target, whether you're PPR, half PPR, he gets the yards, gets the touchdowns. Dak's favorite player. Fantasy players not worth the hype are going to be the Cowboys running backs. Yeah. I just
gotta agree on that one.
Yeah, I just don't see Zeke and whoever the.
I was gonna put them, but I didn't think they had any hype to begin with, for what it's worth. So
yeah, just in general, and I think I'm going to go out on a big limb and just say Jaden Daniels as a fantasy player.
I like that pick.
Is going to be a sleeper.
I love that pick. Yeah,
running, throwing. Hey, we don't have a structure around you right now. You whatever it is, have fun. Yeah.
Backyard football, bro.
Backyard football. Yep.
I mean, we've had lesser talented people come in and be good at fantasy. So I like that pick. I think I'm going to roll with that pick too.
Cool.
I think the running backs in general in the NFC East are probably someone you want to stay with. I know Saquon's there.
Yeah.
But I think Saquon is not going to be as good as... I mean, there's just going to be a lot of focus on it. If you let him get going, you open it up for all of them. The Eagles are just stacked, let's be real.
Yeah.
They got a lot of talent. Saquon has a problem staying healthy. You're going to let A.J. Brown kill you is the guy I'd probably be down to draft. A.J. Brown is just a beast, touchdown machine. Always seems to be open in the end zone.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. My player worth the hype, I think, is Dak Prescott. He was a great fantasy player last year. I think they're going to pass it a lot because of the aforementioned awful running back room. So, another popular pick for you number one podcast listeners, free game out here. I think Dak is going to love throwing a Jake Ferguson, their tight end. So, if you're looking for a not obvious tight end pick, that's a good one. My not worth the hype are Commanders running backs, which if you're keeping tabs, they added Austin Eckler. Most notably, I don't love any of that situation, especially with the mobile quarterback in a rookie. So I think he's going to be taking some of that running attack from them. And my breakout star, on the other hand, with the Commanders is Jahan Dotson. I think every year we see kind of like a third-year receiver take a big step, and he seems like a prime recipient of a functional quarterback. On the Commanders, they spent an early pick on him a couple years ago, and I think all the attention, obviously, and rightfully so, goes to Terry McLaurin. Go Bucks. I think that Dotson's going to benefit from Daniels being there. Okay, NFC South. This is a tough one, obviously. It feels largely up in the air because this was notably probably the worst division in the NFL last year. Vish, take it away. Who you got winning that division?
I really don't care, but I'm going to go out on a limb and just say the Panthers.
I love that.
So just because this division is just out in the open, I think the Falcons probably shot themselves in the foot taking Penix with the 8th pick overall when they could have just beefed up and taken that division, at least for the next couple of years, while some of these teams are down. But what the Panthers have done, they've started to surround their quarterback, Bryce Young, who had a really bad year last year, but just didn't – you can say Stroud didn't have the weapons, but Stroud had the head coach that was there, right, and had the culture that was building, and he got it. So Bryce Young, I still kind of believe in him. That's why I'm going with it. In terms of the fantasy player worth the hype, I'm still going with Mike Evans until he proves me otherwise. The player that's not worth the hype, I'm going to say Kyle Pitts until he proves me otherwise. Have doubled down on him, drafted him in a lot of leagues, especially last year. And then I think sleeper, because I'm going with the Panthers, I'm going to go with the rookie running back, Jonathan Brooks, to kind of break out. And I think he was the first running back that was drafted in the NFL, or in the draft this past.
Worth noting for you fantasy players out there, Jonathan Brooks is going to start the season, I believe, injured. He's recovering from a knee injury, but I think he's going to be back after
Not cool.
after a few games. I agree with you. I think he's going to be big, especially if you're in like a keeper league or something. He might fall a little because of the injury, and he's probably going to be worth it.
Yeah, those rookie dynasty leagues. take a flyer on them.
I still think the Falcons are going to win this division. It's pretty low-level division play. I don't think any team really stands out.
Right.
But I think last year, with the amount of weapons that the Falcons had, I think just adding Kirk makes them extremely better. I mean, you got Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield, and I'm not moved by any of those teams. I think Drake London's going to have a good year. He did not have a good year last year, but he has Kirk now, who loves slinging the ball.
So the only reason I will say, and I know we're doing rapid fire, Kirk Cousins is like 35 years old, and I realize it's like a year younger than I am, so he's old.
He's football old.
But he's coming off an Achilles injury as well.
Achilles, sure.
So
I mean, he's not super mobile all the time anyway. I think he has a good enough arm to throw the ball, and he's been running less and less than what his earlier career has done anyways. And I think like it came up because randomly a guy on my co-ed softball team, his name is Kyle Pitts, and I said that I would not be making the mistake of drafting Kyle Pitts for a third year. I'm not doing it, so he's also my bust of the year until I see him get more than 5 touchdowns. I was like, Kyle Pitts, what the fuck, man? I'm like, you're a disappointment too. I don't have a sleeper either. And honestly, I think at this point, Mike Evans is a sleeper because I feel like the teams that draft him now in fantasy, they always get him like
want him.
The 30th wide receiver to get off the board.
Falls.
Yeah, they're like, oh, he's done, and then every year he shows up. So let's put him in the sleeper category. Put a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah. What do you got, bro?
All right, so I got Falcons winning the division. Bijan is my player worth the hype. I think because of Kirk's injury, they're gonna give it the ball to him, and how much attention they got for not giving them the ball last year, they're gonna do the opposite with their new coach. My player not worth the hype only because he had a really good season last year. He was like Bryce Young's only target. I think Adam Thielen is probably going to be most impacted by the Panthers adding Deontay Johnson. They traded for him, and they drafted Xavier Legette. Mm-hmm. My breakout star is actually going to be, speaking of zagging in honor of Vish, I'm going to go with Kyle Pitts. Because
there you go.
Kirk Cousins is going to try to
love it.
Get him the ball, and word on the street is
he does love tight ends.
He does love tight ends. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're going to move Pitts around as they should.
Good point.
I did want to add one thing real quick. NFC East. I talked about John Dotson. The part I forgot to mention is the breakout start. The offensive coordinator for the Commanders is Cliff Kingsbury. He loves the slot receiver. So the slot receiver always benefits in Kingsbury's system, and that's where Dotson's going to be. So that's part of the reason why I like him to break out. I wanted to add that and forgot that part. Okay. The NFC West, I think it's pretty obvious that we're all picking the 49ers despite their issues with Brandon Ayuk.
Yep.
But Vish, take it away on your fantasy player worth the hype.
We're just going to go with another Buckeye, Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he's being drafted fairly high for a rookie, for not going into a stable condition, but everything that we've heard, everything that we've seen, everything we've experienced as Buckeye fans, he's worth the hype. So until he sees otherwise, that's what it is. I'm going to go with Ayuk as not worth the hype because things just don't look resolved, and if he gets traded, who the hell knows? And my sleeper is going to be Cooper Kupp. I think people are drafting him as the second Rams wide receiver, and I think that's a mistake. He should be the first Rams wide receiver off the board.
All right,
nice.
Take it away.
Mine kind of line up with Vish a little bit. I think the fantasy guy you should draft is Kyron Williams, Rams running back. I think McVay always finds ways to just make these guys worth it in PPR.
Yep.
Just pass catchers will get you 10 points. No matter when you play them, the shittiest game would be 10 catches for 23 yards, and you'll still get 15 points, and I'm good with that. The guy I'm not picking is Puka for the same reasons Vish said. I think Puka's going to have a lot more of number one corner coverage on him this year, with people thinking, Kupp's maybe lost a step, and I think Kupp's going to benefit from being on number 2 guys all the time.
Yep.
And my sleeper is also JSN. I think he didn't, one more year in the offense, one more year with the QBs.
Yeah.
He's too talented not to go off.
Yep.
And he started showing flashes at the end of the year.
Yeah, he was hurt in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and he's hurt. Had to get used to NFL gameplay, and then he started turning it on, getting those long touchdowns that he had.
After not playing his entire final season at Ohio State, not bitter about that one at all.
That's true.
Yeah.
So go Bucks.
Go Bucks.
Remember, he needed snaps versus Toledo. Just never forget Ryan Day saying that part.
So congratulations.
Okay.
Yeah.
My player worth the hype, Christian McCaffrey. I am nervous, law of averages, that he's going to get nicked up because he had a healthy year last year, but nonetheless, he's going to be a top pick, and understandably so. Cooper Kupp is my player that's going to disappoint. I was waffling between Kupp and Puka.
Ooh.
I just don't.
Look at us.
I don't really love either one of them because I don't know which way it's going to go, or it feels like it's going to be feast or famine. Like one's going to go off and the other's going to be non-existent. And my breakout stars are a couple of Buckeyes. Marvin Harrison Jr. breakout only because he's a rookie, and then Jackson Smith and Jigba. So that's my picks. Worth noting, I do want to add player I think is going to disappoint is Kyron Williams. I know, Roche, you like him, but I just have this feeling they're going to use Blake Corum, who they drafted a lot. And McVay also has a habit of, like, just when you think the guy is a starter, he's
committee.
Yep.
Gone. Cam Akers. I know fantasy owners feel that way.
Yep.
Okay, let's move over to the AFC, and we're going to follow the same kind of directional pattern here. We'll start with the AFC North. Vish, take it away. Who you got winning?
All right, I got the Ravens going. Derrick Henry as the player worth the hype. He's going to get the goal line carries, touchdown vulture. I think the player that's going to disappoint, it's mostly because of injury, is going to be Joe Burrow. I think that wrist is still going to be rough, and I think a sleeper is going to be Jalen Warren. I think he's going to end up, even if he splits carries with Najee Harris, kind of helping that Pittsburgh offense.
Okay, Roche.
I like the Bengals this year. I think I'm just going to roll with Jamar Chase as my fantasy guy.
Nice.
He's the guy. Even when Burrow went out, he was still showing up.
It's true.
Putting up big numbers. I think the vulture on the Ravens is going to be Lamar Jackson. I do not think it's going to be Derrick Henry. As someone who's always like put some stock behind like Gus Edwards or some shit like that, I can say that the days that you start Derrick Henry are the days that Lamar will have 3 rushing touchdowns.
This is true.
And on the same hand, I think Zay Flowers is going to have a great year. That's my sleeper.
I like Roche, like the Bengals to win. They're not being talked about, so I think they're going to sneak it. I do think the Ravens will make the playoffs either way. I have Joe Burrow as player worth the hype.
Okay.
He could be kind of a sleeper too.
Yeah, I was just
talking about him. My player to disappoint after his really good year is Amari Cooper. I think he did really well with Flacco, and he's going back to Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like the same kind of fit, and I don't think he's happy right now in Cleveland. There's something going on there.
Yep.
And then my breakout star to go along the Bengals, with them losing Tyler Boyd, a lot of hype around this young player, Andre Sovius. He's like their slot receiver, third receiver next to Higgins and Chase. So that's my breakout star. Okay, over to the AFC East. This one's interesting. So we each kind of have different takes in this one. So this is the first one that feels a little bit more wide open. Vish, take it away with your 4 answers.
I'm going to go, I would almost say chalk with the Bills. I think the fantasy player worth the hype.
I don't know if that's chalk.
No, it might not be chalk. I have no idea. Garrett Wilson. I'm just going to keep with the theme of Go Bucks. I would say the weakest would be any New England Patriot. It's weird saying that, but I think consistently from a fantasy perspective, no thank you. And then I think someone that likely could be a sleeper, especially if Bills win, would be Curtis Samuel, just as one of the top options for Josh.
A lot of Go Bucks energy.
Yep. A lot of Josh Allen. So what about you guys?
All right, Rush, who you got winning AFC East?
I'm very Dolphins heavy here. I think the Dolphins are going to win the division. You can't go wrong with Tyreek Hill being your fantasy star. It's impossible. The guy just puts up 30-point games. If you have the number 1 pick, I would take him probably. Who I'm not drafting are Bills wide receivers. I think they're kind of fucked this year. I just don't see. I don't see Allen having a good year. I just don't see it. I think the Bills are going to have like a pretty bad cliff that they're going to jump off of. And my sleeper is Jalen Waddle. I think he's going to benefit from being next to Tyreek Hill again. He just got paid.
Yeah, he got paid, yeah.
So I think he's going to be balling out.
All right, to round it out, I got the Jets winning the AFC East.
Look at that.
Shit.
Like Vish, my player worth the hype is Garrett Wilson. My player not worth the hype is Achane, Dolphins running back. I just think they drafted someone and then they have Mostert, so Achane is the highest rated of the three, but I just think he's going to get production sniped from him. And my breakout star, kind of similar vein as Vish, I think is going to be Dalton Kincaid. I think Josh Allen's going to try to take over on his own, and the perfect friend for that is the tight end. So, yeah, I was waffling between that and Keon Coleman, their rookie receiver, because I think he's going to benefit a lot from their kind of wide receiver by committee. There's no true one anymore with Diggs gone. Anyway, AFC South. We are all picking the Texans to win the AFC South, I see.
Knock on wood, knock on wood.
So, knock on wood for your guys' sake.
Nah, I ain't knocking on wood. Yeah. We're winning this shit.
There you go.
I don't give a fuck.
Love the energy. Okay, Vish, who do you got for worth the hype?
I think it's Anthony Richardson. I know he's coming off an injury, but before he went down, just rushing attack, rushing TDs. He's there for it. Player not worth the hype is Travis Etienne. I think he was overutilized last year. I think that continues. And then I finally think that because of that, Tank Bigsby, who was supposed to be this breakout rookie last year, is something to hopefully pick up in these deeper leagues.
I actually had Anthony Richardson as my fantasy sleeper. I think he was showing flashes early.
Yep.
He's very athletic, and really that's what you need to be a good fantasy quarterback. Yeah. I think that obviously the Texans are going to win. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to be still as good as ever.
Nice.
And it's because of Anthony Richardson is the same athletic prowess there. Taylor's also paid. I wouldn't say bust, but I think the Texans wide receivers are going to be a tough spot for fantasy.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because they're just so stacked.
Yep.
Think back to the big rooms you've known in the past. I think it's a good problem to have if you're a fan of the team. I think I would stay away from drafting any of them.
Right.
I just think they're going to take turns being the number one guy every week. There's going to be matchups that Tank's going to have 200 yards. There's going to be a matchup that Diggs has 200 yards. And Nico Collins probably going to be solid throughout. So I wouldn't draft him. I'm going to root for him.
Yep.
My player worth the hype piggybacks off of you, because you said Richardson is your breakout star already. Just didn't want number one podcast listeners to miss that. But to piggyback off your Texans wide receivers, my player worth the hype is CJ Stroud.
Yes.
Because he has so many players to throw to. Add Dalton Schultz to that arsenal too, who he has a great connection with.
Mixon.
Oh yeah, Mixon. Yep.
Mixon, who they added at running back, who's a great pass catcher out of the backfield. Crazy. I mean, I would love to know what it's like to actually surround your quarterback with talent and be optimistic heading into a season. Would just really love that.
Yeah.
Opposite of you guys, the one I'm kind of staying away from and just not sure about with Richardson returning is Jonathan Taylor.
Right.
I think they're going to like to run with him, and they've invested in some wide receiver talent. So I just...
Makes sense.
I think Taylor will still be productive, but I'm just nervous about that pick. And my breakout star, I think, is Calvin Ridley. I think he's shown flashes here and there. He's kind of bounced around lately, and I think he has potential to be like a young quarterback's best friend. That sort of receiver who kind of gets out in the open, finds open space, and is easy to find.
Makes sense.
Last but not least, the AFC West. Is it safe to say we're all picking the Chiefs?
For sure. No zags.
Anyone zagging? Yeah.
I think it's hard to zag.
No zags. I'm tired.
Unless you can unless you can combine the Broncos, the Chargers.
I'm going to say the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. That's what I'm going to do because I'm tired of rooting against them and seeing them win. So congrats to the Chiefs on winning the Super Bowl. Good job, guys.
3 straight, yeah. Vish, who do you have as your player worth the
With the
hype?
Chiefs, I'm going to go with their running back, Isaiah Pacheco. I think it really came on. I'm going to go the player not worth the hype. It's going to be Travis Kelce. He's just utilized now more for the playoffs. And then Joshua Palmer, who's going to be, I think, the primary target for the Chargers. Now with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen gone, I'm going to roll the dice and go with him.
Yeah, I think in general, any Chargers starting running back is going to be a guy you want to start because Jim Harbaugh loves his fucking running backs.
Uh-huh.
So
That's aforementioned. You mentioned him earlier, Gus Edwards. And they won. J.K. Dobbins, go Bucks. So
we'll see if he can make it past preseason game 2.
I hope for his sake, man. He's had awful luck. I just really want to see J.K. Dobbins stay healthy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The people I am staying away from probably are Chargers wide receivers. They're not the greatest. I think Justin Herbert's going to have to spread the ball around. I don't think fantasy-wise they're going to get a lot of stuff done for him. They do have Joshua Palmer, who's a great young target, but it's going to be
my kind of sleeper pick. If you're picking forced the receiver is Ladd McConkey.
There you go.
Used an early 2 on him. So I think he might.
So I think they're good young guys, but I don't think they're going to be game changers.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to get a little creative.
Breakout star?
Whoever Patrick Mahomes decides to throw. I know one of you has one of the guys, so I'm going to leave it to you.
All right.
Yeah.
Mahomes
is whoever he's throwing to.
Mahomes wide receivers.
Yeah, so I have Mahomes as worth the hype. Obviously, don't need to say more about that. I also have Kelce as not worth the hype. I think it's more of a result of other tight ends kind of
passing him up,
ascending and passing him. He's almost penalized for his crazy production over the years, and they have more weapons around.
Yeah,
and my breakout star is Xavier Worthy, like you kind of teed up for me.
Yeah,
they used an early pick. It feels like too perfect of a fit for them.
It's a great pick.
It was great. Like everybody predicted Worthy to the Chiefs, and that's what ended up happening. They're going to get a guy who can take the top off the defense, and they let Tyreek Hill go. I mean, nobody's Tyreek Hill, but same kind of concept. Opens up their offense.
Yeah. So if you're keeping track at home around our fantasy breakouts, worth the hype, not worth the hype, and sleepers, we should not be doing a fantasy football show because we would not be agreeing on a lot of stuff.
You get conflicting information,
which I think is what makes it fun.
One of us is going to be right,
which I think is okay.
One of us is going to be right.
That's what you know. That's why you come to this podcast to get.
And if we're wrong, we won't talk about it. So that's
we're just going to ignore it. If we're wrong, I'm just going to say, "Oh, you're welcome for the reverse jinx," and then I'll still be right.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're doing the whole time. That's the plan.
Smart.
Okay,
smart. We got there.
Let's move on to. That was fun. I like doing the division preview, and I think it's a fun way to do it. Pick players to look out. Hopefully that helps some of you think about players you might have not thought of in your fantasy draft. For what you feeling, I'll go ahead and go first. What I'm feeling is getting to go to the NFL Hall of Fame game with Vish up near his neck of the woods.
That was fun.
In Canton, Ohio is where the NFL Hall of Fame is. I actually won tickets to the game, and the game featured the Bears and Texans, so obviously it was only one logical pick to go with. But it's very cool. It's a very cool stadium. It's funny that we take it for granted being so close to us, especially to you, Vish. We had never been, but it was a great excuse too. So
that was my first time too.
Shout out Parlay Sporting Club and Kitchen in Columbus, Ohio for the ticket. Thanked them a bunch, tagged them, but they're the reason I won the tickets. It was NFL draft night, and they just did a raffle, and I was lucky enough to get them. So it's a cool excuse to go see that game and take in the vibes of that place you've never been before. Vish, over to you.
Yeah. I'll definitely say the same thing. It was cool to have you come up and experience that. It's like 25 minutes away from where I live, and I've never been to that stadium and that experience. And it was cool just to be there for.
We lived in Ohio our whole life.
Yep, that too. And just to have like the first Texan, Andre Johnson, be there. Yeah. I think it was cool actually. Me and Brad actually saw Julius Peppers walk by. He is a massive.
It's huge.
He's a massive individual still.
Also
like he could probably still suit up and play.
Yeah.
He's an inductee. And I think this past weekend, our son, who will be 3 in a few weeks, which is crazy to think about.
Insane.
He was a ring bearer in Jackie's cousin's wedding, and he fucking crushed it. We didn't know how it was going to be, but he just walked down, gave this pillow with the rings, and it was kind of phenomenal. I think when I sat down next to Jackie, because I was prepping him, my father-in-law is always an emotional guy. He cries no matter what, even if he sees like a commercial that strikes a nerve.
Sure.
I was also tearing up, and Jackie goes to me, "Are you crying?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's a lot. It's so overwhelming." So it was just cool to see that, and
he looks so handsome.
Yeah,
man.
he rocked it out. So we're looking forward to seeing the actual video of him walking up and giving the pillow. It was just really cool just to have him be a part of that wedding and that special moment for that couple.
And shout out to Calvi, man. My what you're feeling is now that I don't live in Houston, I don't really get to go to Astros games anymore, and I did get to catch my first Astros game of the year a few weeks ago. So that was always a fun time. And shout out to my friend Alon. He snuck us into the club level. We went on against the Dodgers, the team we beat in the 2017 World Series. So my friend Alon, I just bought like the cheapest seats because I just was trying to get into the stadium. Like the tickets were ridiculously priced. It was like upper bowl for like $60. So I don't know if you guys remember the days where we got to go for a cool $3, but those days are long gone. So we got in there. Alon snuck us into the club level, so we had a good time. Got to go with some homies. Yeah, it was cool. And other than that, really, I had a pretty crazy month at work. I work in a industry with a lot of conferences, and I had like 3 conferences in 30 days. So I was pretty beat. So I'm enjoying the summer month of just chilling. So shout out. And then it's right before a month where we get football back.
Nice.
September baseball, baby. And the Astros are looking good these days. So
for sure.
Hell yeah. It's that time, baby.
You already know. It's time for the season to start.
Oh, also bonus. I'm feeling opening weekend of college football. It's Calvi's birthday, and also that's big fantasy football weekend. I love that weekend personally. I think it's one of my favorites.
Great.
Yeah, it's just a lot of fun to get together with people you're in leagues with, and then get to kick off the season in college football.
Yep.
So.
100%.
All right, you number one podcast listeners, let's wrap up with Too Much Sense. Hit that intro. Okay. Too Much Sense for this episode is short and sweet. I saw this quote, I think it was on Instagram, but I love this one. Stop being the go-to person for someone you can't go to. I mean, we might as well hit that Funk Flex sound clip for that one.
Now listen, that's called motherfucking bars.
That's called fucking bars.
Yeah, and this is almost like petty approved too. This is teetering on petty approved.
Petty alert.
It is teetering on that. I think it's important to not do things transactionally. So I get that portion of it, but at a certain point, if you're being someone else's go-to person and you don't feel that same way about the other person, then it's a one-sided relationship that's probably better served not being in your life. So that's why I like that quote. It's right to the point and a nice play on words. But number one podcast listeners, you don't have to drop some of that and mix in a little petty. It's a nice mixture. You're right, Roche. So,
and honestly, if you flip it a little bit and just be like, have a little more self-awareness. If you're constantly going to someone and using them as an ear or whatever to like dump all your problems on, the least you could do is offer them an ear and check in on them.
True.
And if you're not doing that, really take a look at yourself and be like, why am I using so much of person A's time if I'm not offering the same, allowance?
That's a good point.
Think about it, people. You know what I'm saying? That's for much sense.
For much sense. God, bless America.
I love that. Love it. You number one podcast listeners, that does it for our special edition of Prem Brulee, the number one podcast in your headphones. The special edition, 3 co-hosts. Hope you all enjoyed the football preview, the recap of the Olympics. As always, you know the drill. Rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. We appreciate you number one podcast listeners so much, and glad you're able to join us on this brand new edition of the number one podcast in your headphones, Prem Brulee. Thanks, Vish. Thanks, Roche, for joining.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having us.
Peace.
Peace.